Forget everything you've seen in Hollywood movies. The real streets don't have a script. There are no second takes. You're either the hunter or you're the prey. Today, we crack open the legend of a man who was king of this jungle. They called him Britva, the Razor, the boss of the most audacious Russian Mafia crew in the US. His name made the feds wake up in a cold sweat. He built an empire on the ruins of other people's rules. But one day, at his absolute peak, he did the unthinkable. He surrendered to the FBI. Everyone he knew screamed, "Rat! Traitor!" But what if I told you his surrender wasn't the end, but the most brazen move in his entire game? If you watch till the end, you'll learn the secret that the FBI and the Mafia kept buried. His fate is a shock. Let's go. Let's start with the concrete. The 80s, Brighton Beach, New York, Little Odessa. The air is thick with the salt of the ocean and the smell of easy money. This is where he arrived with the wave of immigrants. Let's call him Boris. Nothing in his pocket, a hunger in his eyes. The streets met him cold. The Italian families held the neighborhoods. The Irish controlled the docks. But Boris and guys like him had something the fat cat Americans didn't: Soviet grit and a total absence of fear. They weren't going to play by anyone else's rules. They were going to break them. And so the Brigada was born. Their first business was Krisha, protection, but they did it with audacity. They didn't just ask for money. They'd walk into a shop already paying the Italians and tell the owner, "Now you pay us. We'll talk to the Italians." And they talked, in the language of fire and steel. That's how Boris got the nickname Britva, the Razor. Not because he cut people, because his mind was sharper than any blade. He saw angles where others saw dead ends. His biggest hit was the gasoline schemes. This was pure magic, street-level Harvard. They created shell companies, ran millions of gallons of fuel through them, and forgot to pay the state taxes. Millions of dollars flowed like a river.
The Razor's Brigada lived by their own Panyatia, the code they brought from the old country. It was a code of honor that looks savage on the streets of New York. 1. Never touch civilians. 2. Your word is law. 3. Betrayal is punished in only one way. They despised drugs. The Razor used to say, "Powder is weakness, we deal in strength." They weren't just gangsters, they were a family. If one of the Brigada had trouble, everyone pitched in. They opened their own restaurants, their own nightclubs. Brighton was buzzing. This was their kingdom. The Italian families from the 5 clans laughed at the wild Russians at first, but the laughter stopped fast when the Razor's men started taking their businesses. A war started. Not like in the movies, it was a quiet, underground war. Car bombs, disappearances. Legend says the Razor once came to a meeting with an Italian boss, alone. He sat at the table, put a live grenade on it without the pin, holding the lever with his finger. "We can die together," he said, "or we can make a deal." They made a deal. But the real threat didn't come from the Italians, it came from within. The 90s, the collapse of the Soviet Union. A new wave flooded into America. Young, hungry, angry. They didn't know the code. They only knew betrayal, total chaos. They called these new guys the Volki, the wolves. They wanted it all and they wanted it now. They started dealing what the Razor despised. They started shooting without warning. The streets of Brighton turned red. The Razor's old guard clashed with men who had no respect for authority. The Razor understood. The rules of the game had changed forever. His old-school honor versus the Volki's chaos. It was like a knight versus a machine gun. He was losing men. He was losing control. And at that exact moment, the FBI got on his tail.
The feds backed him into a corner. Dozens of witnesses, wiretap recordings. He was looking at 5 life sentences. The FBI agents came to him not with handcuffs, but with an offer. We know about the Volki. They're a cancer. And you, Boris, are an old-school surgeon. Help us cut this tumor out, and we'll give you something you never had. A new life. It was a hellish choice. Go to prison and get killed there by the Volki or his own guys for failing, or rat on everyone. Not just the Volki, but the rest of his Brigada, his brothers. Become a snitch, lose his name. The Razor thought for 3 days, and he made the decision that blew up the criminal underworld. He agreed. It was the biggest deal the FBI had ever made with a Russian mafioso. The Razor testified against everyone. The Volki, his Italian partners, his own lieutenants, hundreds of arrests. The New York underworld was decapitated by the stroke of a pen. The papers screamed, "The King of Brighton is a traitor." His name was cursed in the streets. And now, the life after. What happened to the Razor? He and his family were immediately put into the Witness Protection Program, WITSEC. They burned his past, new documents, new biography, a new face after plastic surgery. They sent him to some hole-in-the-wall town in Montana. He became John Peters, an insurance salesman. Imagine this wolf, this predator who held a metropolis in fear. Now he's in a small house, mowing his lawn and smiling at neighbors at barbecues. The feds thought they had broken him. They thought they'd bought his soul for safety. For the first 5 years, it was torture. He was in a golden cage. He was a nobody. But the Razor wouldn't be the Razor if he just gave up. He played the part. He was the perfect John Peters. He went to church. He donated to charity. The FBI agents handling him relaxed. "The old man has reformed," they wrote in their reports. They made a fatal mistake. They forgot that a shark is still a shark, even in an aquarium.
The Razor was learning the whole time. He studied law. He studied the stock market. He studied legitimate business. He saved up all his anger and turned it into fuel. He waited, and his moment came. After 10 years, the WITSEC program loosened its surveillance. He was clean. And then he made his move. He disappeared, not from the FBI, but from the Mafia. He didn't run from the program, he used it. Using his new crystal clean identity as John Peters, he started a business. He knew how gray schemes worked, and he applied that knowledge to the legitimate world. He created a logistics company. He knew all the loopholes in the ports that he used to use for smuggling. Now he used them for legal, super-fast shipping. He knew how to solve problems in third-world countries where his Brigada used to launder money. Now he signed legitimate contracts there. His business exploded. And here it is, the shock, the secret everyone missed. The Razor didn't just survive, he won. He outplayed everyone. He used the Mafia to build an empire. He used the FBI to reset and legitimize that empire. He's the only one who walked away from that war a winner. Where is he now? The rumors vary. Some say he lives on a private island in the Caribbean. Some say he owns a massive corporation in Europe under a new name. The FBI closed his case. They realized they had created a monster they could no longer touch. He became a respectable businessman, a billionaire. And the Volki he snitched on, they rotted in prison. The remnants of his Brigada, they're either dead or still call him a traitor. They didn't understand his game. They were playing checkers on the street. The Razor was playing chess on a continental scale. He sacrificed his pawns, his old life, to save his king, himself, and win the game.
This story isn't about betrayal. It's about survival. About how the strongest one isn't the guy with the biggest gun, but the one who sees 10 moves ahead. The streets teach one thing: If the rules of the game don't suit you, change the game. The Razor didn't just change the game. He created his own. His fate isn't the shame of a rat, it's the triumph of intelligence over brute force. He proved that the brain will always beat muscle. He used the system against the system. He took the worst situation in his life, total collapse, and turned it into his greatest asset. Remember this energy, the energy of the Razor. When you're backed into a corner, when it seems like there's no way out, when everyone is turned on you, it's not the end. It's a chance to start a new game. Don't look for exits, look for loopholes. Think like the Razor, sharp, cold, and always one step ahead. He remains a legend, not the kind they sing about in chanson, but a shadow legend of Wall Street, the former mafioso who became a king of the legitimate world, and no one will ever know his real name. He is a ghost, the ghost of Brighton Beach, who made it. That's how it is, brother. The story of the Razor is pure adrenaline. It's a lesson in how to turn defeat into an absolute victory. If you feel this energy, if you need stories about real strength, not fake heroes, you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next explosion. Hit that bell, and I've got an offer for you. The Razor story was a battle of wits, but there was another war, a war of pure fire. Want to know how the Russian Mafia waged war with the Colombian cartels for control of Miami? Blood, cocaine, and total chaos. If this video hits 5,000 likes, I'll drag that war into the light. Write in the comments, what do you think of the Razor? Genius or traitor? See ya.